Hey everybody, it's been a while since I posted anything about my truck, but I installed my S&B intake about a month ago, and I've had this weird rattling ticking noise ever since I installed it, and it's absolutely driving me crazy. So I do like the way this thing performs. It's a really well designed and thought out intake, but something is rattling and I cannot figure out what it is. I've had my daughters in the car. It happens in drive, in reverse, sometimes in park, at idle. But if you put it in neutral, the noise goes away. Sometimes when you're in drive and you start going at like 1200, 1300 RPM, it'll happen for a split second. It's just like a ticking noise. It sounds like if your AC fan was hitting something, but I can turn the AC off altogether and it doesn't happen. I've turned the radio AC off, nothing else is moving, and it still happens. It increases when you turn the wheel for some reason. I don't understand that. So what I'm gonna do is actually take the S&B intake off, put the stock intake back on, and see if it still happens. Because when I did take it to the dealership, they told me that the noise is coming from the intake somewhere. They said tighten everything down. I've done that, and like I said, I've been chasing this. I've zip tied hoses. I put tape on metal that I thought could have been making the noise, and I just cannot figure out where it is. I've had my daughters inside the car in drive with their foot on the brake and the parking brake on, and they're turning the wheel, and they say they hear it from inside, and I have my head down here. I can't hear it from here. I can't see anything that's causing it, but it sounds like it's deep inside the dash, and I can't figure it out. It doesn't make sense. Nothing, turning the wheel, why would that make it worse? But anyway, what I'm gonna do is take the intake off, put the stock intake back on, see if it's still happening, and like I said, if it is still happening, I'm taking it back to the dealership with the stock intake on, saying, hey, it's still doing it. If it stops happening, then when I put this back on, I'm gonna be really careful looking at every individual thing that see what could possibly be making this noise. Because I am completely at a loss here. So if any of you guys have the S&B intake and you had a rattle and you were able to fix it, please tell me what it was. If you have the S&B intake and it's not making any weird rattling noises at all, and it's working perfectly for you, please let me know. But anyway, that's the video. I'm gonna take this thing out, put the new one back in, or the old one back in. Shouldn't take more than about 20, 30 minutes. I've done it before. I kind of know what I need to do. So once I do that, I'll start the truck back up and see if I still hear the noise. And I do have a clip of the noise. I'll put it in here as well, like during the time lapse of me taking it out, so you can hear what it is I'm talking about. It's really strange. It's making the noise. I'm in drive. You can hear that rattling. If I give it even a little bit of gas, I don't know what that quacking duck noise is. I mean, here's on the gas. You hear the rattling. Now I'm gonna put it in neutral. Rattling stops. The drive. Rattling noise again. Duck noise. Neutral goes away. Nothing in reverse. In park, no rattling. I don't get it. I think I found it. That has to be what it is. This freaking bracket is loose. I can put my intake back in. I'm gonna tighten this thing up. All right, I'm zoomed in here. I wanna show you the bolt that was loose. This whole bracket here holds the intake. And this bolt here, right now, I tightened it. It's tight. I'm gonna loosen it and show you the rattling I was hearing. That sounds exactly like it was, and it makes sense. This would pass through this frame. You would hear that noise and it would come in through the inside and sound like it's deep inside of the dashboard. So I am very confident that this was the noise I was hearing, which is awesome. I didn't have to take everything off actually I did have to take, because I had to get the box out of there. But I was doing all sorts of stuff to try to figure out how I could possibly make that noise go away. I put some tape on like different metal pieces that I thought could have been rubbing against it. But I'm super excited that I'm pretty sure I found it. So I'm gonna go ahead, put this back in, see if that noise is gone. Everybody, I have it all put back together. It's nice and tight. And my initial thought when I kept hearing this noise was that for some reason, this is a solid tube now. It doesn't have much flex to it. And the tube going down to the turbo is, no kidding, plastic down directly to the turbo with nothing more than a rubber gasket. I was thinking that as the motor was shaking a little bit, it was making the whole box shake. But that wouldn't be the case, because as you can see, hopefully you can see this, the actual there's a rubber gasket from the actual filter that goes in through here, and it's a big chunk of rubber, and then this goes into that. So as you move this, you can see the filter moving, and I want to actually move this so you can see it. So as I move this, you can see the filter moving inside of there, and this box is solid on here. This is in here. There's 2 posts that go down, so you can see that the intake itself stays still, and the actual, there is, I guess the point of this is there is room for it to shake a little bit and not be a problem. So by tightening this one bolt, I think that's it. Everything's hooked back up. I'm gonna start the truck back up and take it for a test drive and see what happens. Test drive complete, crisis averted, the noise is gone. Such a sigh of relief. I was getting so frustrated and like physically angry. I could feel my blood pressure rising when I would come to a stop and that rattling would happen. And I'm just thinking to myself, I put this intake on there, the rattling's happening, I can't recreate it up here. I've tried to chase it down and I was zip tying hoses, I was taping off pieces of metal, doing all these things, and it would just come back and keep happening. And I mean, it was making me angry, and I love driving this truck, and it was frustrating to know that I had done that, or thought that I had done that by putting the intake on there, when in fact, wasn't the intake at all. So if you were waiting on putting this S&B intake on because of my post about the rattling on Ranger 6G, or the comment that I made responding to somebody who asked me how I like it, don't hesitate. It was not the intake itself. It was a bolt that holds the bracket that holds the intake. And it wasn't making the noise with the stock one. And I think the reason for that is a couple fold. So the stock one uses 3 posts to hold itself in place, and then it has rubber so it can actually rotate, move around a little bit and isolate the vibrations from the engine, which the turbos are mounted directly to, before it comes back to the box, so it doesn't get that resonant frequency and it didn't make the noise. This S&B intake actually has solid pipes. Well, it's a solid connection from the passenger side back up. The driver's side has the stock hose with a little bit of a flex on it. But anyway, it was not the intake at all. The intake itself is great. I do still love it. It does give you that little bit more induction noise. Performance probably improves a little bit, but it's so hot, it's hard for me to test it. I've never dynoed my truck. I only ever do 0 to 60 runs, and those change based on how you actually start and everything like that. So it's hard for me to tell, but I can say, seat of the pants, I don't feel more acceleration power. It might have a little more throttle response. It definitely sounds better, and to me it looks cool. And you're letting the engine breathe a little bit easier than the stock intake. So that for me is good enough. Anyway, that's the whole video. If you guys are looking at a cold air intake, I think for the price, the S&B is the way to go. All right, cheers everybody.
It's over!